Hi, today I'm going to be talking to you about 21 books I want to read in 2021. Most of these aren't on my physical TBR, which sounds really weird. Why wouldn't I want to read books from my physical TBR? Don't question it, okay? My TBR is in a rough place right now. So let's dive right in. I'll alternate until I don't have anything to show you. And then you get a bunch of pictures. These are all in a random order. I already started reading this one, so I'll talk about this one. If Not Winter, Fragments of Sappho by Anne Carson. I don't even know how many times I've talked about this video actually on my channel because I've been filming and deleting a lot of videos because I'm just in a really weird mood. So I don't know how much I've actually annoyed you with how much I love this book, but I love this book. It's just fragments of Sappho's works, the fragments that were found. It's truly, truly fragments. I just read, okay, this one literally only says in a thin voice. It just makes you curious about what she was writing. But yeah, obviously I already started reading this, have some favorite passages, and I'm reading 25 pages a day, so I don't just consume it all in one sitting. It's very easy to do that. I literally get through those 25 pages in 5 minutes. So this is going to be taken into 2021 and is why it's in this video. So we can already see that I'm completing my goal. Yay! Now I'll say a book to read in order to complete a series that I absolutely love, which is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. This is the third and final book in the Truly Devious trilogy. Of course, we all know, though, that there's a fourth book coming out with the same characters. That's like a whole spin-off thing, but I'm including this one on here because it is time to finish the series. I've been holding it off because I absolutely adore this series so much, and I never wanted to finish it. The original time I read Truly Devious was the same year it came out, and I read The Vanishing Stair the same year it came out as well, but I could totally be wrong about that. I think I am. It is time. I've been holding it off. I don't want to finish the series, and now that I know that there's this fourth book coming out, I'm not too scared anymore. I need to read it. I am going to be rereading the first and second book because I don't really remember much from the second book, and I feel like it wouldn't make sense to read the second book if I don't read the first book. So it's a whole thing. I'm going to reread it in order to read this one. And it would be the third time I'm reading Truly Devious, which is fun. And another reason I've been holding off to read The Hand on the Wall, because I knew I would need to reread the other two, but I'm not really a type to reread a book twice. But I'm going to do it, and it should be fine. I love this series. I'll do this one. So, Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary by Brandon Mule. This is the fourth book in the Fablehaven series. I almost said Truly Devious. I could have totally picked this up this month, but I didn't really want to pick up another chunker. That's a really weird word. Because this one I'm pretty sure is over 500 pages. It doesn't really look like it, but once again, I don't really have a perspective on what 500 pages looks like because I haven't read a lot of chunky books in my life. Apparently this is what it looks like. I think if you've read enough series in your life, you know everything just goes downhill after the middle of the series, so I'm just really hoping Brandon Mule goes soft and doesn't, well, in my mind I want him to go soft and doesn't kill off like everybody, but I think the strategy here would be to take it beyond a middle grade level, because truly I feel like even though this is a middle grade, it doesn't read that juvenile. I feel like it is more leaning towards the preteen kind of side of things, which is still juvenile a little, but it's fun. If you haven't started this series, you need to start it. It's so good. Even if you don't like the first book like me, you're going to love the other two books. The second book is literally so good. It's my favorite in the series so far. So this one I'm assuming is going to be about dragons. What would have gave that away? Brandon Mule wrote a sequel series called Dragon Watch that is in the same world and also has Kendra and Seth in it. I'm excited to read that. I was getting depressed because I thought I was going to be done with that series in 2 books' time, but now I just learned I actually have 7 more books to read in that whole universe. I'll talk about From the Neck Up by Aaliyah Whitley. I think that's the author's name, pronunciation. This is just, I think, a collection of short stories, very speculative. Let me look it up to see. Witness the future of farming in a new ice age, or the artist bringing life to glass, the many-eyed monsters we carry, and the secret cities inside our bodies. It sounds so good. This is the type of short story collections that I want to start reading more of, the kind of weird-ish ones. So that one should be really nice. I think that one came out this year as well, and I haven't read anything else from that author. Most of these authors I haven't read from. I'll talk about this one. I have Cien Años de Soledad by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I just love to say the Spanish translated title. I don't know much about it. I also don't know how many times I've actually talked about this on the channel. My brain's all confused now. It has to do with time, generations, time repeating itself, and I think that's basically it. I think it has this kind of unique format in which stuff starts getting repeated as well. Like the events at the beginning of this book, you'll hear in the same exact words, in the same exact sentences in the middle of the book. Hence, the time starts repeating itself and actions start repeating themselves. And this one should just be really good. I'm more so excited about this. The writing. I heard this author has a really good writing. Cover appreciation. I'm going to talk about The Tourist Butcher by Scott Emblem Jarrett. Oh wait, is that the translator? Okay, I think that's the translator, but the actual book is by Jamal Oriachi. Seems like it's going to be about 2 stories. The Tourist Butcher is a grimly comic tale about a serial killer who prepares his victims for a culinary dish, while Memories in Tinfoil follows the nightmares and existential crisis of a psychological student. Of a psychology student who receives a slice of human brain as a gift from a biologist roommate. That's like literally right up my alley. Okay, and then I have 2 more physical books to hold up. So first I'll talk about Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I'm going to probably read this in June with Erin's Booked and Busy book club. Just so I don't know, I could go to the live show. So this one's definitely going to get read soon. 2020 release, got it because Amazon was having a sale. And you know, I have to jump on those sales. The thing that intrigued me about this one was the pre-Columbian setting, which I think is going to be really cool. And I'm really excited to kind of see a lot of indigenous inspirations, I guess, that are going to come up in this book. I think that should be interesting. I'm also interested to see who the villain is. I'm really hyped for it. And then I have The Forgotten Island by David Sauter. We're gonna start getting more into the slasher horror, the kind of weird horror slashers that I want to get into. So this one's I accidentally came upon when I was ordering another book that I ordered. I believe it's just about these kids who go to vacation somewhere. I forgot what the place is, but it's white people going to other countries. And they end up getting kidnapped almost, but they find themselves on this boat that's taking them to this island, and on this island they start getting killed by these creatures. I think they're kind of zombie-like creatures almost, but it's I heard it's gory, which is just what I'm in the mood for. And I'm gonna buy it because I really like the cover. I don't know why. It's the red and the black and the outline. Kind of reminds me of the 80s. And then the final book I have to hold up for you is The Monk by Matthew Lewis. She literally hates me. She came in here to sleep and she is not getting any sleep. I'll read you this line. It contains many typical Gothic elements. Seduction in a monastery, lustful monks, evil abbesses, bandits, and beautiful heroines. So this is just about a monk who starts going through an existential crisis because of his love for another woman. Literally want 10 million books written exactly like this. And I'm reading this one by Matthew Lewis, who wrote this at the prime age of 19. Next I'll go with The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. Meg and Riley have been talking about this series a lot, and it sounds exactly what I like. Victorian mystery kids, female protagonist. I think they just investigate mysteries, and that seems like a really good time. Anna by Leo Tolstoy. Another one that I'm going to be getting to soon. I'm going to read this throughout the month of January. This translation, if you're curious, is the Luis and Almermad translation from 1918, which I heard is a lot of people's favorite translation. Oh wow! Oh my god, wait! It fits in my hand. Okay. Then I have Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez. I recently read The Visitor by Sergio Gomez, and that one was really nice. That one was a novella, but he really developed the characters well enough that it made you want them not to die, which is fun for a novella. That's a slasher. But that's a really good writing ability for someone to have undeveloped in 90 pages. So definitely want to read his other works. The one that I actually wanted to read before The Visitor was Camp Slaughter, which I think is just kind of Friday the 13th-esque. Kids go to camp and then there's a serial killer murdering them kind of thing. Let me look up what Camp Slaughter actually is about, though. A group of college kids renting out a cabin deep in the woods of Pennsylvania will soon realize the truth about Camp Slaughter. Ooh, cannibal? Okay, I didn't know this was going to be a cannibal book. That one should be great, though. So, I'll kind of give you a break from that, and I'll go into a sci-fi I want to read, which is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. That's a really cool name. This is the first book in the Themis Files series that I want to read in order to kind of leech more into the sci-fi, and this one just sounds really interesting. I think it's just a group of scientists or stuff that find a giant hand in the ground, and they start researching it like humans do. It has a whole commentary about finding stuff and ethical practices and things like that, and I think that should just be really interesting. And I'm going to listen to the audiobook because the audiobook is full cast. These aren't the last I have a lot of slashes on here, okay? Kill River by, I cannot read that author, give me a second. Kill River by Cameron Rubik. Ooh, okay, fun name, fun spelling. This is the first in a trilogy, actually. And I'm going to buy this one, too, because it is one that I want to own. So it's about these little kids, these literal tiny kids, 13 years old. That's young. Okay, wow. That's going to be brutal, because that's literally kids being murdered. Okay, so summer of 1983, and 13-year-old Cindy and her new friends sneak away from camp to go down the river, and they end up finding a water park. Here's the thing. They're, like, obviously excited because they have this water park all to themselves, but then they start getting picked off one by one and killed, and they find out that they are actually trapped in the water park and somebody's killing them. It's promising blood and gore and 80s nostalgia. Please, that sounds perfect. I have a lot of horror on here, so I'm definitely going to fulfill that goal. I'll talk about The Iliac Crest by Cristina Rivera Garza. I was looking up horror written by POC authors, and this is one that came up. These two women who come to our narrator's house, and they seem fine, nice women. But the entire night, they are threatening our narrator, who we don't know the name of. I don't think we know the name of the woman either, who is a man, I guess, that they know his biggest secret and that he is in fact a woman. And I know this book is going to go into a lot of discussions of gender stereotypes and gender in general, which I think is going to be super interesting to hear in this perspective of a horror. If there's anything you want to get across to me, it's definitely in horror. Okay, this next one is a bit fun to talk about on this part of book 2. Fat Camp by James Sabata. We have another kind of campy slasher here. The gist I got from this one was that it's just about this kid. You know, his name is Philip, and he's a fat kid. And his parents sent him to fat camp, which is sad, but they just want him to lose weight. It's 1985, by the way, so this kind of makes sense. But they sent him to fat camp, and here he's just struggling a lot. I heard the fat rep in this is really good, or it's good for horror, because if you've read a lot of horror, or more so watch a lot of horror movies, you know that the fat characters tend to be humiliated a lot, and the fat rep is just not good at all. But I heard the fat rep in this is actually good. So, and there's a serial killer that's killing everybody. It's just a slasher. It's a slasher. And I heard it's more heartfelt than expected. And then I want to read IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami. Definitely want to get into his works a lot. This one and After Dark are the ones I'm most interested in, but I put this one on my list. I think it's just the kind of confusing parallel world aspects that I'm really interested in. I don't know what it's about. I don't really want to know what it's about. And I'm going to buy the huge 1,000-page bind-up of all 3 books. Then I was talking about Devolution by Max Brooks. I really wanted to read this one this year, but I never got to it. It's about Sasquatches, I think, and these group of people that are researching it. So, creature feature. I do love creature features, actually. And I think it's told in the journals of one of the characters. The formatting of this is what intrigued me, but also the creature feature aspect. Then Snow by Ronald Moffey. That one I could talk about off the top of my head. I think it's just about these people on Christmas Day that, or is it Christmas? I don't know, but yeah, it is Christmas, I think. They're all just riding in a car from the airport because it's snowing, and then they pick up a dude that's off the side of the road, but this dude is being super weird and is obviously not who he says he is, and then it turns into just a terrible night of events. Next, I'm going to talk about Off Season by Jack Ketchum. What? It gives me no, okay, hold on. So, there's actually a fun thing about this book. It was originally released in 1980, but it was edited majorly because this dude's publishers were like, this book isn't going to sell if you leave in all this blood and gore and guts and such. And if you didn't know, by the way, the 80s was a time for horror that was thriving a lot. So definitely Jack wanted to be one of the top sellers at that time. And so he listened to his publishers and allowed them to edit out all of the gore and the guts and the brutal scenes. And it ended up selling decently. I think it sold like 250,000 copies or something like that. But he didn't become as successful as he wanted to. And recently, they released the unedited original version that he wanted to be published in the first place. So it's not telling me anything about what this book's about. I don't know. It's about cannibalism. This family of cannibalists, these people that go out into the woods and then they start getting hunted by this family. Something like that. But cannibalism seems to be a big theme in that kind of obscure slasher horror genre that I want to get into. The Abominable by Dan Simmons. This book is 663 pages. I don't like long horror. So there's this other subgenre of horror that exists, which is mountain snowy settings. I read Ararat last year, or this year. I really liked it. I really liked the setting mainly. That was my favorite part. So I want to read more of all of these books that exist within this grouping. Wait a minute, is this about the Abominable Snowman? This is fiction, so what I'm saying is fiction obviously, but in this book there's a disappearance on Mount Everest in 1924, and the group of people and the cousin of one of the people that went missing from that event go onto Mount Everest to find out what happened, but something is tracking them. They have to survive, and then there's this big secret on this mountain apparently. I don't know. I said fun a lot in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm tired. I'm in pain. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. What do I say? Oh, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you liked it. Leave down a snow emoji of some sorts if you made it to the end of the video. And I will see you next time. This is what happens when I get tired. I start laughing a lot. Bye.